What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. And today, as you can see underneath me and Matthew, we have two-time NCAA All-American from Minnesota, Pat McKee. Pat McKee, welcome to the show, man. How you doing today?
I'm good. How about you guys?
We're
Excited to
doing
be
good
here.
today. Excited. We got some good guests coming on the show. Um, we're excited, man. Excited to be here.
Great.
Pat, obviously, we're gonna address the elephant in the room. How are you feeling? We know you just got your knee operated on not too long ago. You kind of showed the world on Instagram what was going on with you. So talk a little bit about how you're feeling and how's the knee doing.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a rough past couple days. So I just got surgery done on Wednesday. It was the last surgery out of the hospital that day, and my first time getting surgery, so it was kind of a different experience. With um, the pain after wasn't the best, and but it's gonna be a long road to recovery. But I'm excited to be healthy for once. And to to be able to get into different positions that I wasn't really able to get in the last couple of years. So overall, I've felt better, but it's just kind of a setback for a greater comeback.
Love it. We love it, man. And I know you released some merchandise, the comeback kid. And I think as much as that's kind of about how your legacy of being in the backside of NCAA brackets and coming back and winning third place to, I think this is now going to be even a bigger comeback for the years to come of you wrestling.
For sure. Yeah, I've kind of taken that like persona that I've gotten over the past couple of years, but it's not really just been the past couple of years. It's kind of been throughout my whole life. Just one setback after another, whether it's losing in a wrestling match, which or in a tournament, which really isn't that big of a deal, to losing my father and coming back from that and kind of overcoming different obstacles that have been in my life. And wrestling is just it's just a way I've been able to kind of portray that ability to overcome obstacles. Not everybody sees obstacles in life, but they see them out on the mat and out in tournaments. So they see me and they see my ability to overcome maybe a loss at the national tournament or whatever it is. But that's just kind of a glimpse of who I am as a person and my ability to kind of overcome these obstacles and overcome different things that life throws at you.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah, definitely, man.
yeah, I feel like not a lot of guys have opened up, as talking about stuff like that. So thank you for sharing that with us. And
Of course.
I personally lost my dad about a year and a half ago. So I
Sorry to
uh
hear that.
I know what you're feeling, man, and I think what you've been able to accomplish, with all that going on in your personal life is it's inspiring.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So we kind of want to hear about starting the podcast off. We want to know, who was, big parts of creating Pat McKee. So let's just kind of start where it began, where it all started, who got you into the sport, and talk through your high school career and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that. So obviously my brother Mitchell McKee, he kind of got me into wrestling. Um, and right away it was kind of an escape from like kind of the craziness of a child that I was. My parents put me in wrestling at like 3.5 years old, and I was like 30 some pounds, so I was super small, and my mom just said like just entertain them, I guess. Like this is probably just not anything serious, but just kind of a way to have some fun and whatever. And next thing you know, we're going down to Tulsa Nationals. We're going all over the country for this sport that I joined just for fun, um, and there was definitely obstacles along the way. There was times where I wasn't winning and I didn't want to keep wrestling and I kind of hated it. But then I just kept coming back, and I learned to love it. And so I'd say like the biggest person in my life that kind of got me going was either my brother or just my dad and my mom, just inspiring me and kind of pushing me when I didn't really know what I was doing. There's so many tournaments where I would lose and I'll throw fits, and coaches always told my parents like And my parents really had no idea what was going on, but they just told my parents like that's that's kind of a good thing when he's so passionate about this sport and he's so passionate about winning and losing and competing that it's a good sign. And so um, eventually, they got me into Pinnacle Wrestling, which we were one of the first people to join Pinnacle Wrestling School. And now it's one of the best wrestling clubs in the country. And I'd say one of the biggest, piece of my development there was Brandon Paulson and Jared Lawrence, obviously. Since from like day one, Brandon took a real big interest in me and my brother. And he's just been kind of a father figure ever since then. And it's crazy. Like he's had so many wrestlers come in and come through their school, but for some reason he took a big interest in me and my brother, and even he has a picture of me and my brother still up on his desk, and that was even before I started dating his daughter. And so he's clearly has an interest in me and my brother, and it just I think that that inspired me to just work even harder and do what he kind of preaches, which is love the fight and love every second of the battle. So that's why, like, even through surgery and through injuries and through setbacks, like I just always remember, love the fight and just love the obstacles that life throws at you because it's part of life and that means you're living.
Yeah, man, 100%. I feel like those are some good words to live by there. But were you somebody who kind of found instant success in the sport? You talked a little about going to
Mm,
Tulsa and Reno. Um, were those tournaments that you were winning like from a young age?
no, not at all. From like a super young age, I wasn't bad. I wouldn't say I was bad. Like I was always good on like youth teams and good on like, our, middle school duels and I was getting second or first or second in state. But when it came to like national tournaments, I didn't really succeed early. Um, I think I won my first national tournament probably, um, gosh, I don't know, maybe like seventh or eighth grade. But I think, I had to cut a little bit of weight for that. So I was like on the bigger end of that. But like when it came to like Tulsa, like I think I went maybe 1 and 2 my first year and, um, what was it? Freestyle and Greco Nationals out in Utah. I went like 0 and 4 1 year. And, that was definitely a humbling and humbling experience and kind of like I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy that. So I think that, that was a part of, you know, creating this, new version of Patrick McKee who um, just learned to love the sport and got a lot better. I'd say like the the moment where I like really flipped the switch was probably in like ninth grade. Um, I was good in like good in seventh and eighth grade. I was the first like I don't know, guy on my middle school team to go undefeated, like for my coach. And so I guess that was like a big deal for them. But, for me, it was like I was on to bigger and better things. And it wasn't really until after my ninth grade year when I didn't even place at state ninth grade year where I made like huge steps and I end up being ranked top 10 in the country the next year. And 2 years later, I won junior freestyle nationals and won who's number one and won all these things. But it was like, there was just a step that I had to, I was just like a step away and I had to somehow, fill that ground. And I ended up doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And not having like success younger is we've been hearing that a lot, but as long as you keep going, you keep grinding, obviously you're gonna have
Yeah.
success. You're a prime example of that. And touch a little on how you made it to Minnesota.
Well, I mean, I'm from Minnesota. I've been watching the Gophers since I was as young as I can remember wrestling. And I just remember like, um, so my brother committed to Minnesota at an earlier age. I think he was like a junior in high school. And um, so they approached me or they approached my mom kind of when I was a junior. And at first when they approached me, like I really wanted to keep my options open, and that's what I thought. But then I kind of sat down and thought about it when I was with some family, and I realized like there's really no other place that I could even imagine wrestling at. It's just the camaraderie that, they have here, and I've been coming in the room since I was, you know, a sophomore or junior in high school, and I just see like how hard everybody works in here, and like, um, the camaraderie and the family bond that these guys have, even from, since I was, you know, 16, 17 years old. I saw what they had here, and I saw like, just the tradition of hard wrestling. And I don't, there's schools that have succeeded more, but I truly believe like Minnesota wrestles the hardest, and that's how I like to wrestle. I just like to battle, and even if you don't come out on top, we're not wrestlers who take the easy way out. We're always going to fight tooth and nail for a win, and you even see it at nationals this year. Like I didn't win, a couple of my matches. I ended up losing out, but I felt like I gave it my all in every single match, and I was proud of that effort. And that's what happens sometimes. There's guys who might kind of get lucky with a certain position and beat you, but it's like, I fought tooth and nail for every single position, and that's what Minnesota wrestling is all about, and that's what I love about it.
So did you take all your official visits, or you were just like, Minnesota, I know where I'm going?
Yeah, so Coach Luke Becker, he brought us in for a meeting, and he kind of touched on how, um, with me, it could be the start of kind of a legendary recruiting class. And at the time, Gable hadn't committed, Brantley hadn't committed, nobody had committed really. And so I was the first one to really start that transit, or that I guess the train of commits that we got that year. And they really emphasized on the importance of kind of getting me to commit, because they know that it might push Gable to commit, and it might push Brayton to commit, and all these other guys. And so I knew what I wanted to help build, and I think that my recruiting class did a pretty dang good job. Obviously with Gable and Brayton Lee, he was injured this last year, but he's going to be ready to win a national title this next year, and so am I. And so I think I did a pretty good job by committing early, and starting that trend, I guess, in that recruiting class.
Yeah, man, 100%.
But yeah, sorry to follow that along. So initially I told him, I want to keep my options open. And then it was about a week later, I was out in Ohio with some family. I was actually getting my first tattoo. And for some reason, I was just like, what am I thinking? Like, yeah, I want to go to Minnesota. Like, there's no other place that I really want to go. And so I called Coach Luke Becker in the bathroom, and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to come to Minnesota. Like, I really want to be a Gopher. I don't know what I was thinking, but he's just kind of laughed and said he's excited, and we were ready to build that recruiting class.
He said, scratch that tattoo. You're getting a Minnesota tattoo if you're committing.
Yeah, no, and I haven't got that yet. Yeah.
Not yet. But
Not yet.
so you already mentioned his name, and I think being that our name is Heavyweight Nation, I think we have to touch on him a little bit.
Yeah.
So what's it been
Who's
like,
that?
man? What's it been like talking, being able to train? Obviously, you don't train with him, but having a teammate like that, what's it like, being with Gable Steveson? What is that experience like for you? And, watching him win an Olympic gold medal, what was that like for just not you, but the whole team at Minnesota?
Yeah. That's a great question. Me and Gable, since, both of our brothers are on the same team, and we went to camps together, eighth, ninth grade year. And, we've known each other for years now. And I'd say he's one of my longest friends right now. It's been really cool to see his growth, not as just a wrestler, obviously, but as a human being. And, with the limelight that he's had since he's been in eighth grade, like, it's been incredible to see him, handle that and continue to handle that like a professional. And, even from a young age, I knew like, yeah, he's a great wrestler, but he's like, I know he's going to do good at whatever he does. I've always thought that he could be really good at movies or whatever it is, because he just has a persona that is so, so like bright and so electrifying, I guess.
I feel like I could see him in a Fast and Furious movie. I could just see
Something
Gable
like that. Yeah.
Steveson like
He's
cut
just so
off
he's
like
like
black shirt, tattoos, like I feel like I
But
could
he's
see
like
him in a
super
Fast and
fast
Furious
witted
movie.
too. Like
Yeah.
he's super like or like quick witted and like on his toes with a lot of stuff. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so it's been really cool to see his like development as a wrestler, obviously, and just seeing how like his one loss or his two losses his freshman year just like lit a fire underneath him, and since then we've seen what he's done, and it's just been incredible. But you see like someone who's able to overcome just a loss and just take something from it, and then even just in his training, like his freshman year, he was kind of he had some baby fat on him still, and just it wasn't the Gable season we see now.
Still an All American,
It
but not
just
yeah,
no,
not the
still All American, but not the world killer that he was, and or that he is, and it's just yeah, I mean, it's been super cool to see him, and even still now, like he just announced that um
wrestling for the world
he's
team
wrestling at the
trials.
U.S.
Yep.
Open, and I've known that for a little while now, and just seeing him train every day, like he's training like the Olympics are next week, and he's training like like he's ready again to take over the world. And I know he's going to because I see how he trains every day, and I see his everyday mentality. I think being off the mat for this past year and not being utilized like he could have in the WWE is just kind of just pissed him off a little bit, and it's just made him that much more um excited to wrestle and that much more like dangerous, I suppose.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
our good friend Caden Henschel was down in Minnesota with Gable, and in his video he Gable talked about how there was an opportunity for him to go out and wrestle against Purdue, and then wrestle the rest of the season this year, and it just didn't really work out for him, and I was it was crazy to me to think that he was like this big big time signee by the WWE, and I think a lot of people are kind of questioning like, well, where's Gable? His brother is out
Yeah,
there doing very well. He's doing very well in the WWE. Bobby's doing very well, but I know everyone was kind of wondering what Gable's plans were. But I think we're all excited to see him in Vegas. I
yeah.
think
I
it's gonna
think I
be
think that the kind of that question around it, right, is creating more of a storyline. And
mhm.
Mhm.
they're just it's like you don't want to if you see like Aaron Pico in Bellator. I think they rushed him a little bit early, and he took some losses early, and not that it's hurt him too much, but they just want to they want to do it right, and they want to make sure he's ready, and I know he will be ready when his name is called, and just creating that storyline that it's gonna be cool once it comes out.
Yeah, and I know his brother jumped kind of right into that with the WWE and has had great success. I actually got the pleasure to meet him way back when at the J Rob camp. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, but it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with him and how they
Hmm.
utilize him to grow that brand.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
100%. So we got to talk about the comeback kid. You have, in my opinion, I think you've struck fear into people that lose at nationals and have to wrestle through the backside of your brackets. Because I feel
Yeah.
like anytime that you get in the backside of the brackets, you you're going for a third. It's impossible for you to lose at that point. And I think we've seen you beat some great, high, crazy high level guys in the backside of the bracket that a lot of people picked, against you. So talk a little bit about, kind of that comeback kid name and how, nationals has been a little different for you compared to a lot of other guys.
Yeah. Obviously the goal every year is first, and so I've been disappointed the past couple of years in the aspect that I haven't been the guy in the national finals and competing in the spotlight. But I've still been able to you know be in the spotlight a little bit just because of doing such great things on the backside. But um, I don't know. I'd say the reason why I'm succeeding so much in the backside is just because I've been there before, and it's kind of the idea of my brother always tells me whenever I lose, like just get the next best thing. And so I'm never satisfied um, with winning a few and not placing, or even taking seventh or eighth. Like I always want to get the next best thing, which is third. And I've been able to do that at a lot of high school national tournaments, Big Tens and even national tournament, which is the biggest tournament there is. And so I think it's just the idea of, having your back against the wall, and there's really no other option. There's no option you can't feel sorry for yourself. You can't, you know, make any mistakes. And you just kind of got to wrestle free because, I find myself when I wrestle, kind of, not timid, but just kind of cautious that I'm not wrestling myself. If you watch me wrestle in the matches that I'm wrestling the best, it's just I'm wrestling really free. I'm attacking from all positions. I'm always looking to score. And that's just who I am. And I think it's just really the mentality of getting the next best thing and just kind of my back's against the wall. I'm not letting this next person beat me. I'm not letting this person take away my dreams. And so I was pretty upset, pretty heartbroken this year with the results that I got. And I just think that, even the last 2 years, I was kind of complacent with myself and a little bit too satisfied with my tournaments and my finishes that it didn't light enough fire underneath me. And so this year it's like it's been really a different experience because I had this burn in my stomach that I've never really felt before. And so, I kind of everybody better watch out next year.
Hey, Pat McKee's coming. I think
Yeah.
We're
just
watching
hearing
out for it.
the way you're talking about it, and we know, and I'm sure you wish you could be out there on that mat right now, getting some workouts
Oh
in and
yeah.
getting ready.
Yep.
And
Even after the national tournament, like I was right back on the mat and um, because I knew I'm having this knee surgery, so I wanted to get, you know, every opportunity that I could get on the mat just to love the sport again, because there's times throughout the season that, especially dealing with injury and, having to wear a brace and taping both your knees and putting a brace over one knee over the tape, taping your elbow, you know, there's times where it's hard to love it, but you just, like I said, you got to love the fight. And even with that, it's like, it's just, you're doing a job versus doing what you love. And so, there's times you kind of forget about that and you forget that, I get to do this. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. And so I think just, this injury and this setback is going to really remind me of that. And, especially it being my last year, this next year, it's going to be, I think we're going to see a different Patrick McKee, and we're going to see one who's wrestling with no chains on him and just wrestling free and just going out there to score points and have fun. I suppose that's kind of what the goal is every
That sounds
time.
dangerous.
sounds
Unchained Pat McKee.
unchained,
Yeah.
man.
You
The
need
guy's
that on
got
a
to
shirt. Unchained.
Yeah.
Oof.
break the
But
chains. Yeah.
definitely heal that knee properly. Don't rush it.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Someone with experience with a couple knee surgeries. I've had 5.
Oh wow.
Take your time.
Yeah, for
Do
sure.
the rehab. Even if it feels great, it's not fully all good. Take your
Yeah, I
time.
know.
Really,
Yeah,
really wait because you
for
don't want
sure.
another one.
No, I do not.
Oh man. So I mean, I mean, next year, what's the plan for you? What weight do you think you're going? What's
I mean,
the weight class you're going out to?
obviously my plan is to be a 125-pound national champion. Looking at, the way too early seeds or the rankings that they have, like I'm not number 10 in the nation, I'll tell you that. I'm number one.
Oh yeah, no,
Um,
yeah,
and you see my last 2 matches with Matt Ramos. I love Matt. He's a great guy. But I was right in those matches. I thought that um, one thing differently in both those matches, and I win both those matches. And that's the number two guy. That's the guy who upset Spencer Lee this year. And so I'm not number 10 at 125. I know where I'm at in that in those rankings. So I'm excited to show that, but also if it works out best for the team, I'll go whatever weight I need to go. And
yeah.
you see guys like Vito Aruja, and you see guys like Sam Latona, and who else moved up this last year? There's one other guy. But you see those guys who moved up a weight, and I had a close match with Vito last year, um, and he won it at 133 this year. So I think that if there's a completely healthy and a completely um, non-weight cutting Patch McKee, it's a different Patch McKee. And
'Cause
so I'm
what's
prepared
that
for.
cut like for you? What's your cut to 25? Is it brutal, or are you kind
It's
of like
pretty
a guy
tough.
who
I think it's tough for everybody who cuts weight, but um, towards the end of the year, I get it down, but it definitely affects me in duels. And there was even one time this year where I just didn't do it right, and I end up, not making weight in a duel, and it um, kind of put our team in a bad position that we end up losing a duel. And so I had to carry a lot of that weight on my shoulders, and it took some time to reflect on that. And so um, it is a tough weight cut, but I don't want to make any excuses for that. But I think that if I didn't have to cut, I could definitely focus on getting better every week instead of cutting weight every week.
So
100%? I
maybe
think
we
you
will see a 133 Pat McKee.
We'll see it. I mean, we'll go whatever weight I'm that'll be better for the team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you just sound, just the way you're talking, you sound like one of those guys that, if your coach told you, Pat, you're going to 141, I think you'd probably do it. Just
Yeah. I mean,
because.
I was just thinking about that. I mean, I probably weigh that right now, and so it wouldn't be too far out of the option, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, yeah, I think that's a little might be just a little bit too big for you. I don't know if
Maybe.
no shade to you, but I think you see a lot of those 33 pounders that go up to 41 and they're like, oh man, I should have just stayed at
It's
33.
kind of a bigger jump. Yeah,
Yeah, especially from you going
definitely.
25 to 41 is a
Yeah, I
pretty
don't think
big jump in college
that's probably
wrestling.
not in the cards.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so, but no, man. So I'm gonna kind of let Matt have his little time here to have his little Q&A discussion with you, and I'll chime in when some good combos getting started. So I'll pass the mic over to Matt and let him take away with our some questions for you.
Cool.
Yeah, we talk a lot about wrestling, but let's put that aside for now. What do you like to do in your free time? You're not wrestling. You got time on your hands. What are you doing?
Um, so like that's the only time that's really the case is in the summer, and in the past few summers it'd be different than this summer. This summer is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be completely rehab based and
Mhm.
super focused. But in the past, I really like to. One thing that kind of is obviously related to sport is boxing. I really like to do boxing and MMA stuff because that's going to be my future. So I go down. Me and Michael Blockus, we go down to a friend's house in Prior Lake, Minnesota, which is probably about 30 minutes away. And he has a sweet gym in his basement with a sauna and a mat, bags, everything that you need. And we hit pads. We train hard, and then a lot of times we'll go on his boat after, go surfing, and just kind of enjoy the sun. Um, I like to. What else? I like to hang out with my friends. I suppose that's a pretty basic answer, but hang out with my friends, either Owen Webster, Michael Blockus. I like hanging out with my girlfriend. I live with her, so I spend a lot of time with her. She cooks a lot of my meals, which is very nice. And then now I just got a dog, so do walking him and playing fetch with him. He's not a big dog, so I don't know how much he's gonna play fetch, but yeah, I mean that's a little bit behind the scenes. I'd say a lot of people play like Xbox and stuff. I don't really play too much Xbox and none of that stuff, but I will every once in a while. Not the best, but yeah, I don't know. That's some of the stuff. Um,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
So
I don't know what
so
else.
when it's all said and done, and you hang up the shoes, you want to get into fighting?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. And fun
That's
fact,
the
we're
plan.
gonna
I'm
have
gonna move down.
Michael Blocks is coming on in about 3 hours, so we'll get to
Oh,
talk to
sweet.
him. Get to talk to him about
Dude,
fighting, and
yeah,
he decided to hang up the shoes.
yeah.
This season was his last season, and he got himself an All-American this season,
That
which was great
hurts.
for
It
him.
hurts.
I'm sure it hurts to see him go, but
He's like he's my best friend for sure. Like we spend way too much time together.
We should
And
we should have really arranged this to just have you both
no,
on at the same
we
time.
were actually, because you're gonna do it when he's down in Florida, and we were just gonna say like we should just do it together on the beach or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we definitely could have,
um,
man.
yeah, no, we spend a lot of time together. We've, you know, done anything from working out like endlessly with so many weight cuts together. We room together every travel, every travel event. We do road trips together to go out to South Dakota or down to Florida to train MMA. And I think it's gonna be a very tough year for me and him this next year without being with each other.
Nah, but I feel like you
But
guys have
after that, we'll be reunited
brotherhood,
again.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be reunited again down in Florida eventually, so it'll
Yeah,
be good.
man.
So do you want to do like boxing or like UFC?
MMA,
MMA,
UFC,
got
yeah.
it.
So I'm gonna eventually move down to Kill Cliff MMA, or Kill Cliff Fight
Let me
Club,
tell
and
you, Killcliff is they're gonna have some hammers come
yep,
out of there. Like I
yeah.
know they
So
have a ton of guys down there training right now.
yeah, so my brother, he's training down there. He's been training down there 2 years now, full time. Maybe a little bit more. I can't remember exactly. And then there's Richie Lewis, who's a wrestler. Jo just moved
Yep.
down there.
Yeah.
He's been spending a lot of time with my brother, which is kind of cool. Met him for the first time last week. And then even like Miles Martin was training down there for a little bit. So there's just with wrestling, there's a lot of names. And I feel like within the next couple of years, there's gonna be so many more people who
The
start to get
pipeline.
into MMA.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh
we've
yeah.
talked about it. We've talked about it
yeah,
so much. The pipeline between, I think Bo Nickel really opened it up, and before that
seems like it. Yeah,
It was Gaethje and John Jones and guys like that who
Usman.
really Usman like
well, yeah, and then even Logan
Ben.
Storley, who's down
Yeah.
at the gym. He's one of my good friends, and a mentor of mine. Four-time All-American, one of the
Mhm.
best Minnesota Gophers ever, and he's crushing it right now in Bellator.
Yeah.
He just lost his title fight, but he's gonna be back. Um, and so just to see the success that he's had, and to match up kind of my style of wrestling and his style of wrestling, and my style of fighting, I I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of success. And even just talking to my manager for NIL stuff, he's the manager for the gym, or he's part owner in the gym, and he manages guys like Michael Chandler and Logan Storley. He manages gosh, who else? Ryan Bader, who's Bellator heavyweight champ. Just a ton of fighters and wrestlers. And he just told me like he's like, dude, you're gonna do so good at 125, like whenever you transition to MMA, like. And so just hearing it from him, who's seen, who he knows what he's talking about, it's just
Yeah.
exciting to kind of hear, and it just um, puts a little bit more extra like confidence and motivation behind it.
Yeah. 100%, man. We've
Yeah,
been hearing
definitely.
a ton of guys talking about fighting. I feel like at least
Mhm.
one every like 2 or 3 days we feel somebody's talking about fighting. Lucas Bird from Illinois, he wants to fight. I think it'll be super cool to see him fight. He's a smaller guy. We compared him to Mighty Mouse during the episode. We said he's going to be
Mm,
the next Mighty Mouse, but no, we're excited.
yeah, we'll
And
see
I
about
agree with
that.
you 100%. I think I think all of MMA, all of combat sports is just going to be full of wrestlers. I think,
Yeah, and I hope that there's been so much more talk in the last couple of years about fighter pay, so I hope that it starts to get better. For 125 for flyweight, the only option for me really would be the UFC. And fighter pay at 125 isn't the greatest. You heard Mighty Mouse talk about during his championship fights, he wasn't making a whole lot of money, and so I
yeah,
hope that it starts to get better, and I think that it will continue to
100%.
keep getting better.
Because it's
So
growing, man.
guess we'll see.
All combat sports, like, I feel like this year, we saw like just how many people watched NCAAs this year. It was like I want to say like I think double of what it was last year of like televised
Really?
viewers.
Wow.
But just like
Wow.
the growth of combat sports, like and the UFC, I know has had a ton of growth. They've had, they've pretty much been selling out every event that they've been
Yeah,
holding.
yeah. You
And
see all their even their fight nights, like the Kansas
yeah,
City fight night they just
Mhm.
had was like a 2 point something million gate or whatever it
yeah,
was, and it's like it's crazy. It's
yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
Really cool.
Definitely, man. So, we gotta get off the path of wrestling for a little bit here. We want to let
Yeah,
the
sorry.
fans know a little bit. No, you're good. It's more us. We gotta let the fans know you a little bit on a personal level. So you touched a little bit about your girlfriend. You live with your girlfriend and she cooks you some good meals. So what is your favorite meal that your girlfriend has ever cooked you?
She cooks amazing pasta. And she cooks really good like paninis. So if she cooks like either it's like Ruben's or Rachel's, like on a panini press. She cooks like some incredible pasta. So I'd say one of the best meals she's ever made is probably some sort of pasta. I kind of always will say like if we go out to somewhere to eat, like yeah, this pasta is good, but it's not really as good as like hers because honestly, it's like she puts a lot of time and effort into her cooking, which is super awesome. She always loves cooking for me, which is a great thing, and can't get much better than that, I suppose.
No, man, I don't think you can. So talk to us a little
Yeah.
bit about kind of what's a day in your life like during the season. Talk us through just like let's just do I don't know any day. We won't do a competition day, just a random any day during the week, just a day in the life.
All right. So, I mean, I suppose it depends if we have a duel on Friday or Sunday. Um, okay, let's go with like a Tuesday.
Mhm.
Um, wake up probably around 8:30. We have practice at 10, so that gives me enough time. First thing I do, get out of bed, go press the coffee machine. Got an Nespresso, so put a pot in, put my coffee, um, drink my coffee, and do my morning routine. Whether it's some days, honestly, I don't even really eat much of a breakfast, just because if I'm not really feeling hungry, I won't really eat too big of a breakfast. Um, then probably head over to practice around 9:15. It's about a 7-8 minute drive depending on the traffic. Um, get there, do some rehab, or just some kind of put a hot pack on, get ready for practice. Practice probably goes from 10 to 11:30. Go eat lunch up in our dining hall, and then go home, relax. I don't. The last like 2 years, I haven't had really any in-person classes, which has been really nice ever since COVID. I've tried to limit those just because it's just the convenience factor. Um,
I will
and
say
so
it has been great for athletes. Like
yeah,
COVID
Oh
was,
yeah.
a terrible thing. It happened, but I think just like
the Zoom
the
classes and
evol like
yeah,
the evolving education has been so easy for a lot of athletes.
definitely. Yeah, it's been nice. And so like um I definitely have to remind myself a lot of times like, hey, you have school by the way. Um and so, I'm graduating this May, but um I don't have too many credits right now, which has been really nice. But yeah, so overall like school workload hasn't been crazy the last year. And so honestly like, I'll probably work out 2 times a day, pretty much every day. Um and so I would probably from one or like probably one, I'll just relax kind of on the couch, maybe watch some TV, um, walk my dog or whatever, take him out.
What kind of dog do
Um,
you have?
he's a husky mixed with a Pomeranian, so
Just a
he's
tiny
about
husky.
20 pounds. Yeah, he's about 20 pounds, but he looks like a husky, so it's kind of cool. He's got those blue eyes with
Hmm.
he's white hair with blue eyes, so really pretty. Um, Not much of a guard dog though, but I don't really need that right now. Um, yeah, and then I'll probably go work out around 4:30. Either I'll work out at my apartment gym, which has a really nice gym, or I'll go down to Prior Lake, or I'll go just to Bierman, depending if we have lift or whatever it is. And then get home, eat dinner around 6:37, and relax for the rest of the night. I don't, honestly, during the season in Minnesota, it's cold, so you don't really do too much other than work out, refuel, and relax.
Make a
Yeah.
snowman or two.
No, I don't go outside much, especially
Yeah.
like I've noticed the past couple of years my knees get really achy in the
Oh
cold
yeah.
weather, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
now that
Listen,
yeah,
listen. Both of us are medically retired Division II college wrestlers.
Yeah.
So
So
I
you
broke
understand.
I broke my ankle 5 times. Matthew is
Oh wow.
basically shattered his knee and his shoulder, and he's pretty much bionic as well. So yeah,
Where do you guys live?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, it gets cold there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
was like 93 degrees the other day, and it's about 50 out. It's gonna be 40 degrees tomorrow. So
Dude, it was 87 the other day, and it snowed yesterday.
yeah,
Like it's ridiculous.
yeah. That
Yeah.
So
it's
that's
just
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I wake up and
Minnesota.
I could feel the weather.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
crazy.
rain, oh, I'm like, man, I can't walk. Like my foot is like, I'm like, I
Mhm.
can't move,
Wow.
can't do it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, during the season, I don't do too much. And then even like right now, I'm going crazy because I just can't do much. Just sitting on the couch, and
yeah.
I'm
You sound
I'm
like you're
someone
not
who
like
likes to
a.
stay active,
I was
and
gonna say you don't sound like somebody who sits still very often, and you don't sound like somebody who could sit and play games for a couple hours. Like you're just not.
no, I
Yeah,
honestly like when I stare at like a screen or stare at watching TV or playing video games, like I get a headache, and I try to limit too much time of just watching something and sitting and playing games and whatever.
You're just
But
sitting there, you're doing dips while you're watching a show.
no, I'm not that crazy.
not
Maybe
that
I should
crazy.
do that. Maybe I
But
should.
I don't be careful, man.
Yeah.
Watch the knee for at least for now, at least for now. Relax a little bit,
Yeah, they
but
said I couldn't sweat for like a week, so I'm like kind of sitting and going crazy,
you're
but
counting
I'm
down the
ready
day
to.
till you're counting down till next Wednesday. You
Yeah,
got
I'm
2 more
ready to
days.
like get back in and start
At
doing
least get like a
something,
nice upper body lift in, maybe
for
some
sure.
bench and
Yeah.
some curls and get some shoulder
Yep.
work in and stuff.
Yeah. Even I think the morning before my surgery, like I got a workout in because I was just like, oh, it's gonna be my last time,
Might as
doing a
well,
workout for a
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was like we were talking. Braxton Amos got a shoulder fixed, and last night
Yeah.
at like 10 o'clock he went for a run. He's like I just need to get one more workout in before he's rested up for a while too. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
see,
crazy.
I never listened to my own advice. So the day after I got knee surgery, actually, no, the same day I got knee surgery, I went to the gym that night because I don't like to listen, but
Because you were on
you should.
painkillers and you couldn't feel
yeah,
it.
Pretty much.
precisely. Yeah, precisely. Yeah, his
Dude, it took it like right after surgery, I was like kind of really loopy, but
Hmm.
I was in so much pain right away. Like they pretty much put me on like the max they could put me on, and
Yeah.
and it was some intense pain. But then after it wasn't too bad for like the next 2 days, but oh man, like the whatever it is, the nerve nerve
The nerve
agent or
blockers.
nerve block, yeah, it freaking wore off, and so it's
Oh
been a rough
yeah.
past 2 days, and
Yeah.
I
but
bet,
Knee
man.
pain is annoying because you can't locate the exact, it's just like inside you. So you're just
yeah,
like, it's radiating and it's really annoying. And then if they give you like a
yeah,
painkiller, it doesn't take the pain away. It just makes you careless.
yeah, pretty much.
So you're
It's
just
been,
constant
and
pain.
then yeah, I was super nauseous the other day.
Yeah.
Just couldn't keep any food down, and
Hmm.
it's tough.
Yeah.
I know how you
Uh,
feel, man, but yeah.
Yeah.
so talking about when you can keep food down, what is your favorite cheat meal? Let's just say you don't gotta weigh in. It's the summertime. I know you probably eat pretty clean, being like a lighter weight guy. So what's like that one meal where you're like, man, I feel gross after eating this?
Yeah. Honestly, it's changed over the last couple of years. Like when I was, probably freshman, sophomore years, it would be a lot different than what it is now. I really like I think each year, like there's been a meal that I'm just like, I can't wait to like have that. That's gonna be my first meal. And so I think a couple of years ago, like it was just a pasta, whatever kind of pasta. Um, Last year it was canes, raising canes, but
Mm.
then I ended up not even having it for like 2 months after the season. So it was something where like when I couldn't have it, I wanted it, but then when I could have it, I didn't really care.
We've been hearing that a
And
lot
then
Yeah.
lately about when the answer to this question. A lot of people are like, yeah, but like during the season, I really wanted to eat like this
yeah,
and this and
yeah.
this, and then the season ended and I didn't eat it. Like I just was like,
Yeah, it's almost
whatever.
just like the forbiddenness of something you can't
Yeah.
have. But
For sure.
honestly, like a meal for me would be like just a good steak. There was one time throughout the year this season that I had like one cheat meal, and I went with a buddy, and it was me, Gable, Michael Blockus, and then another buddy, and we went and got like 16-ounce steaks or 18-ounce steaks or something, just crushed it. And it was good. But so I'd say honestly, like I'm like a go-to steak guy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like my girlfriend always gives me crap because she's like, wow, I've never eaten so much steak in my life. Like within
Big
the
red meat
past,
guy.
couple meets. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's like, I'm getting my iron levels are just going through the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Nothing wrong with that though. Nothing wrong with
Or even
that.
just some ice cream. I'm a big ice cream guy too. Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with some ice cream, man.
No.
What's the go-to flavor?
Um, so there's like this new ice cream place that just moved in down the street not too long ago, and they have this red velvet with chocolate chips. It's like a vanilla with red velvet and then chocolate chips in there, and it's oh my God, it's so good. So I'd say that.
Ooh,
I gotta go. Speaking of that, maybe I'll go tonight and get some. But the
Pat might
problem is like
go get some
I'll
ice
always
cream.
forget about it until like it's like 8:45 and they
They
close at
close at
9. So I'm
9.
like,
Mhm.
Yep, yep.
like I guess no ice cream tonight.
And then tomorrow, the next day, you're just like, meh.
And then
Okay.
I forget about it. Yep,
100%, man.
exactly.
Yeah. So, Pat, thank you. We appreciate you, sitting down and giving us some time. We got one final question, the closer. This might anger some of your teammates, just to
Oh
put that
boy.
out there. So, you could take 3 of your Minnesota Gopher teammates with you into the zombie apocalypse. Who would they be and why?
Okay, number one, definitely Michael. Because I feel like we just have that connection. We're both kind of crazy and we can, I don't know, we'll figure things out. And his dad's got a very large supply of guns and ammunition.
There you go.
Um, he's an Iowa boy, so he's got connections down there. Um, I'd say number two would be Garrett Joles. He's a big outdoorsman, super good bow hunter. Um, just loves being outdoors, hunting, fishing, whatever it is.
Okay.
There's number two. Number three, I'm thinking either Sam Skillings, another outdoorsman, Wisconsin guy, big deer hunter. He can also fly a plane, and so he's got his pilot license. So
Hold on a second.
he's got his pilot license. So I think that would be very resourceful.
That is crazy. I
Yeah.
feel like you're like as a college student to just whip
I know
that
it's
out and be
crazy.
like, yeah, I just got my pilot license. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's
can
that's
fly. He
crazy.
can
kind of
fly you guys to a dual meet if you guys ever have to take the plane.
yeah,
He can fly you guys to the dual meet.
yeah. No, it's cool because like when he was getting it, I think he was working on it like kind of during COVID, kind of after that, and we are all kind of giving him crap because he's like, oh, what you got to go like because he drove like an hour and a half or whatever to go, put his hours in every day, and we're kind of giving him crap for it. But then after, it's like, dude, that's pretty sweet. Like
Yeah.
you can fly a
Yeah.
plane, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. So I'd say, those three: Michael Blockus, Garrett Joles, and Sam Skillings.
A
That
lot of
would be the
people are going to
three.
be mad that Gable Steeson wasn't said, but I understand because who's going to
He's
feed him? Who's like, how do you keep Gable
exactly.
fed? They're like, yes, would he rip a zombie in half? Probably,
I
but
mean, I've seen Gable use a gun a couple times. Um, so actually, when we were like 16 or 17, we went out. I brought him out to South Dakota with me because so one of my buddies, he passed away a few years back. His name's Curtis Lemaire. He was a wrestler for Prior Lake, and then he was a wrestler out at Northern State in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
yeah.
And so we used to always go out with his family pheasant hunting. And so I brought Gable out one year, and he didn't even have like his license or nothing, but he just kind of posted up and just kind of was there to have fun. And I think maybe or maybe not, Curtis might have handed him a shotgun one day, and there was a coyote that ran out of a field, and they both just blasted it, like just probably shot
It
10
might have
rounds of
happened. It
buckshot.
might not have.
10, it might, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
And
yeah,
who
no,
knows
it
even if
was,
Gable was the one that killed that coyote? It could have been the other guy,
he,
Never
Yeah.
he
know.
might tell you he did, but it might have been Curtis. I don't know. But yeah, it was pretty cool kind of seeing that outdoor side of him. I know his brother Bobby is kind of more outdoorsy than him, but
Mhm.
Gable likes to fish, And so when we brought him out pheasant hunting, it was fun.
Mhm.
So I'm sure he would love to do that again. You know, he had fun out there, and so I mean maybe we could bring him on that, you know, like that zombie apocalypse.
I think I'd
But
rather have the guy
I don't
who
know.
flies the plane.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think so.
You can't
Yeah.
get eaten if you're in the air.
That's true. Just the
Yeah.
fuel might be a problem.
Nah, he
That's
can figure that out.
fine.
He can figure that out. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Pat, thank you very much for coming on the show. We appreciate it, man. Thank you for giving us some of your
Yeah.
time,
Thanks
and
for having me on.
we look forward to next year, man. We hope we see you fully healthy and fully back and ready to take some heads off. And he kind of put the world on notice a little bit. He said, wait for Pat McKee to come back. So we're excited to see it,
Unchained.
man. Unchained,
Yep.
unchained Pat McKee.
Yeah. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's been another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. Have a good one, guys.